Class of 2023, guests and colleagues, my name is Mary Howarth, and on behalf of the University of York and our alumni community, I'm delighted to welcome you to your conferment and celebration ceremony. I have a few announcements to make before we begin so that you can relax and enjoy the ceremony. Class of 2023, an easy job to start with. Please check that your seat number matches the number on your ticket, because you'll be called to the stage in this order. If you discover that these do not match, our team of stewards can help you to locate the correct seat. At the appropriate time, you'll be invited by the stewards to stand and to make your way to the foot of the stairs, ready to head up the stairs and across the stage. All very straightforward. There are two key things which make for a seamless ceremony. First, as soon as the person ahead of you begins to cross the stage, please make sure you make your way up the stairs. Please don't wait until they've crossed the stage before you reach the top of the stairs. And second, when your name is announced, please walk to the centre of the stage and either raise or doff your cap rather than shake hands with the Vice-Chancellor. But please do pause for a moment at the spot marked X in the centre of the stage for that all-important photo opportunity. Your parchment certificates will be available for collection from the Student Hub from Monday the 24th until Monday the 31st of July. If your certificate is uncollected, we'll post it to the home address we have on record. So please do ensure your home address information on eVision is up to date. And your digital certificate will be made available to you through our digital portal. For the students whose awards have been delayed by the marking and assessment boycott, we'll let you know how to obtain your certificate when we communicate your final outcome. And everyone from the class of 2023 is welcome to have photographs taken by our official photographer in the photography studio in the Spring Lane building. At the end of the ceremony, the class of 2023 are asked to process out of the hall directed by the stewards. Family and friends, the stewards will show you to the exits once the class have left the hall. If the fire alarm should sound at any point, please remain in your seats. Instructions will be given and we'll escort you to the nearest exit. When students graduate, they become alumni of the university. As an alum, you'll join an international community of over 160,000 York alumni in 180 countries. The university's Alumni Association is a vibrant and active global network which offers services and opportunities that are designed to help graduates make connections with other alumni across the world, to support their career development and to provide lifelong learning. York is for life, and we will be there with you every step of your way, particularly as you embark on this important next chapter. You'll shortly receive an email giving further details of the ways in which you can remain supported, connected, and active in this community of one of the world's greatest universities. Do please follow our alumni social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and check out the alumni pages on the university website to keep in touch and learn more about life when you become a York graduate. As you get your first job or take up further study or training, please remember to keep us in touch with what you're doing. Understanding the career paths that you take will help us to provide the right support for current students and make sure we continue to offer you relevant information and opportunities. And please remember to join us for a celebratory reception following the ceremony in the Exhibition Centre, where you'll be able to celebrate your achievement with a complimentary glass of fizz and a selection of refreshments. Finally, can I ask you please to now mute your mobile phones, and if you're comfortably able, will you please now stand?
Please be seated. And a very, very warm welcome to the University of York. My name is Charlie Jeffrey and I'm the Vice-Chancellor of the University. It's a real delight to welcome you here today. Occasions like this are perhaps the most special part of my job. We're here to celebrate the collective and the individual achievements of you, the class of 2023. We're here to mark the creativity, the energy, the passion, and the sheer hard work that you've put into your studies. But we're also here to mark a moment of transition, with all the anticipation that comes as you move into the next stage of your lives. As we celebrate your achievements and recognize that moment of transition, I can only say how proud we all are of you at the university. I also want to acknowledge the disruptions that many of you have faced over the course of your study, including in recent weeks. I'm really sorry that you've had to face that along with so many difficulties in the last few years. But today we have the opportunity to stand back and reflect on our students' achievements, both within and outside the classroom during their time with us at the University of York. And as we do so, we're delighted that so many family members and friends can be with you to witness this ceremony and join us in celebrating today. Some in the hall are local to York, others have come from around the UK, others still have travelled to us from many different countries around the world. You're all very welcome. And we also know that some who are special to our class of 2023 are unable to be present today. And we hope that many of them will be able to celebrate at distance via the webcast of this ceremony. And wherever you are, don't hold back. Celebrations like this require lots of noise. Applause, cheers, whoops, and hollers of congratulation and joy. And I'm given to understand that in previous graduation ceremonies, students who've done degrees in theatre, film, television and interactive media, and their supporters, are noisier than students who've taken degrees in music. I think that needs to be disproved this morning. And with that advice, I now declare this congregation open for the conferment and celebration of awards.
Dr. Anya Shiel will present the class of 2023 on behalf of the School of Arts and Creative Technologies.
Vice-Chancellor and President, I have the honour to present the following candidates who have pursued the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Music. For research in creatively reimagining historical sound, Helen Jane Howard Diggle. For research in the piano music of Adolf Busch, Jakob Fichert. For research in Latin motets in 17th century England, Miles Hartley. For research in interloops in audiovisual works, Lynette Quack. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Music Education, Instrumental and Vocal Teaching, Wang Jiaxin. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Music Production, Shui Hanyang. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Music, Grace Beanie. Benjamin Bradshaw. William Campbell. Emily Cook. Isabella Corrigan. Umbretta Crouch. Becky Davidson Lund. Olivia Davies. Liam Dobson. Eli Edvokimova. Oliver Fulwell. Felix Hammer. Abigail Campbell Helsby. Christina Alexandra Higgins. Lily Hills. John Holmes. Fotis Theodoros Kaimanakis. Bethan Kelly. Shall I? This is actually working, I think. Closer. So let's. Hopefully this works now. Does this work better?
And shout.
Yep. Yep.
They're being very noisy.
They are. Congratulations. So, William King. Thomas Lamont. Holly Ann Lawson. Millie Mazzoni. Veronika Michinska. Laura Mitchell. Benjamin Moss. Katrina Munro. Tanya Murphy. Sarah Nelson Jones. Leta Twai Win. Camille Orwin. Clara Phelps. Sophie Allison Powell. Andrew Radcliffe. Jennifer Ralph. Magdalena Ramirez Martinez. Laura Sutcliffe. Jack Thompson. Olivia Virgo. Catherine Wiseman. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Music and Sound Recording, Santiago Aguilar Ferrand. Reese Bevan. William Harris. Evan Holm. William Jacobs. Finn Barlecki. Robert McIntosh. William Millett. Gonzalo Sarmiento. Rosanna Schmidt. Ollie Searle. Luca Simal Vieira. Beck Smith. Tian Chongyang. Robin Torbett. Alexander Whitten. Vice-Chancellor and President, I have the honour to present the following candidates who have pursued the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in Theatre, Film and Television. For research in the impact of filming on the heritage sector, Rosemary Alexander Jones. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts by Research in Screenwriting, Nathaniel Craig. Owen Powell. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts by Research in Theatre, Sean Byrne. Kate Valentine. For pursuing the degree of Master of Science by Research in Interactive Media, George Greaves. For pursuing the degree of Master of Arts in Film and Television Production with Producing, Gao Junyang. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Business of the Creative Industries, Sophia Azada. Isla Brown. Sarah Carr. Tia Carruthers Alder. Tess Clippingdale. Eva Conway. Maximus Cook. Catherine French. Daisy Leach. Lynn Shue. Ethan McLeod. Meg Maguire. George Newsom. Josephine Offer. Niall O'Grady. Joshua Okechukwu. Hyo Jung Park. Grace Pelling. Sabrina Camilla Robinson.
Ladies and gentlemen, our student ensemble, Eonomy, will perform What a Wonderful World, arranged by Peter Hicks.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of people walking by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They learn much more than I ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Oh, yeah.
For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Business of the Creative Industries, Jessica Rocci. Catherine Rogers. Ella Shaw. Luke Vernacchio. Jed Wagman. Alex Wheatley. Darren White. Katie Whitfield. Oliver Withell. Olivia Woodward. Sofia Zablewska. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Arts in Theatre, Writing, Directing and Performance, Freya Atkins. Chloe Baines. Nadia Bartlett. Ruby Battiscombe Scott. Bethany Box. Flynn Burgess. Zoe Burnett. Lucy Bushell. Alex Chase. Lucia Collado. Jordan Craig. Renee Dillon. Joe Doody. Lucy Eddington. Lottie Farmer. Georgia Firth. Lena Glissman. Morgan Goodfellow. Alexandra Green. Oliver Hilton. Jermaine Khalil. Joshua Liu. George Lister. Nathan Jeffrey Bauman Livingston. Jennifer McCready. Luke MacDonald. Mackenzie McNeil. Jessica Measy. Bethany Moran. Chloe Nightingale. Jay Noble. Posey Bluebell O'Rourke. Charlie Reese. George Robertson. Maisie Rogers. Aidan Russell. Kira Shell. Dan Sinclair. Song Chunshi. Kira Southwood. George Strange. Nina Summerling. Romilly Swingler. Lucy Thurman. Tamzine Grace Forster. Wang Shuyu. Evie Wells. Monica Yell. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Science in Film and Television Production, Inaz Al-Humaimi. Amelia Alder. Alicia Brooks. Andrew Carstairs. James Carstairs. Beth Chamberlain. Chen Jianyu. Long Chow. Ella Clements. Francesca Cruz Tavalara. Manon Davenport. Abby Denhart. Shreya Desai. Joel Dowd. Vlad Dragney. Finn Ducker. Bang Ying Ding. Bethany Ferry. Lily Gensetter. Maisie Gordon. Alice Graham. Fraser Hackney. Jerome Harrison. Ewan Hasty. Sam Hens. Emily Henshaw. Emily Hine. Jack Ireland. Sophie Kelly. Wilfred Kirby Clark.
Professor Martin Suckling will now present Honorary Graduand Gillian Moore, CBE.
Vice-Chancellor and President, it is a great privilege to present to you our Honorary Graduand Gillian Moore. For over 3 decades, across a succession of leadership roles at the London Sinfonietta and the South Bank Centre, Gillian has been a beacon of fearless musical exploration and a catalyst for creativity from community grassroots to the very peak of the profession. Her innovations in programming and education and her constant challenging of inequity in the arts continue to shape the cultural life of our capital and our country. Time and again, her work has demonstrated that the cutting edge and the world leading are no barriers to inclusion. As such, she is a tireless advocate for an integrated, publicly funded arts education structure in which excellence is celebrated, supported, and bound together within active, creative communities where participation in the arts is a part of life regardless of social or economic circumstances. These attitudes, I am sure, resonate with us here, and this should be no surprise. Gillian was a student at York in the 1980s, and she has spoken of the impact of the radical, experimental atmosphere fostered by John Painter and others in the music department at that time. Approaches which we are proud to continue in our new School of Arts and Creative Technologies. Certainly, the radical and the experimental have been a continuous thread through Gillian's career, in which she has been an indefatigable champion for new music. Her support for composers, both emerging and established, is legendary, with the success of initiatives such as the Blue Touch Paper Scheme, which helped launch the careers of composers such as Dai Fujikura and Anna Meredith, sitting alongside the extraordinary and extraordinarily long list of artists she has commissioned. Elliot Carter, Gerard Grisey, Unsuk Chin, Tansy Davis, Harrison Birtwistle, Judith Weir. I could fill my allotted time just listing the music that Gillian has shepherded into the world. And while this commitment to the creation of new art is crucial, It is to Gillian's skill as a communicator that composers like myself owe a huge debt. As a writer on music and a frequent contributor to BBC Radio 3, Gillian shares her passion with the general public. As a panelist on industry and governmental panels, she fights our corner where priorities are being set. But most of all, she leads the way as an innovator in programming which reaches new audiences. Gillian has always had a keen sense for meaningful connections that bridge boundaries, developing projects which link contemporary music to visual art, architecture, film, dance, and electronica. Perhaps the most celebrated results of this have been her collaborations with Warp Records, in which Aphex Twin, Mira Calix, and Square Pusher rubbed shoulders with Ligeti, Reich, Nan Caro, and Cage. But this is just one example among many. These hallmarks of bringing challenging music of the highest quality to the widest possible audience go right back to the start of Gillian's career, where in 1983 she was appointed Education Officer at the London Sinfonietta. This was the first position of its kind in this country, and she was therefore a pioneer of artistic outreach. In particular, an approach in which participatory creativity is at the heart of learning, an approach which, not coincidentally, is also the basis for our teaching here at York. Aware of the limited reach of the Sinfonietta's programming, Gillian sent composers and performers into schools and prisons to create new work based on the orchestra's repertoire with, as she characterizes it, missionary zeal, a typically uncompromising approach, and a challenge for the artists who were developing new skills on the fly. But 4 decades on, it still serves as the model for performing arts education programs across the sector. That it should be prisons as well as schools to which Gillian sent the Sinfonietta's composers and instrumentalists points to her long-standing commitment to inclusivity in the arts, to breaking down barriers and addressing inequality. Chi-Chi Nwanaku credits Gillian with catalyzing the formation of Chineke, Europe's first majority black and ethnically diverse professional orchestra. Initiatives such as the South Bank Centre's Women in Music programs continue to address the gender imbalance through performing, mentoring, and networking opportunities. While the challenges in the contemporary artistic sphere are significant, Gillian nevertheless reminds us that artistic experience can touch and move and change people as long as the arts have quality and authenticity and are delivered with commitment and without compromise. Quality, authenticity, commitment without compromise. If we here strive for this in all our fields, then how many people will we touch and move and change? Vice-Chancellor and President, for her advocacy of the music of our time, for her pioneering development of participatory music education, and her tireless pursuit of inclusivity and the creation of and access to excellence in music and all the arts, it is with great pleasure that I present to you Gillian Moore for the degree of Doctor of the University honoris causa.
Through the power vested in me by the University of York, I have immense pleasure in conferring upon you the award of Doctor of the University honoris causa.
Thank you, Vice-Chancellor, and thank you so much, Martin, for those
very, very generous words. It's a great joy to be honoured by this university in this way. It's more than 40 years, has been said, since I arrived here as a 21-year-old postgraduate to read for a master's in the music department. It seemed to me then, as of course it is now, a thrilling place full of talented and interesting people, and that sense that Martin referred to of radical experimentation was just everywhere. But I spent quite a lot of that time feeling terrified. I'd come down from Glasgow, and it seemed to me that everybody here was from the south of England. Everybody was super confident, and everybody was talking with that, smooth delivery and big, loud voices, knowing what they thought about everything, and they seemed to know where they were going. That wasn't the case, of course, I'm sure. Maybe they even thought the same about me. But I managed to suppress my fear for the time I was here. I worked very hard. I made some wonderful friends, and I joined in lots of performances. I just played music all the time. The music department was, as I know it is now, a place where the actual practical thing of making music was paramount, and that was very exciting for me. And I took advantage also of everything that the university had to offer. I remember in this very place seeing some amazing art house films for the first time, because it was a fantastic film club here. But there were structural challenges as well. I remember being baffled and confused, actually, even in 1980, that I was the only female postgraduate in quite a large cohort in the music department, and there were absolutely no women on the staff either. So I know that's different now, but it was, even then, it kind of took me aback. But nonetheless, I used my fantastic experiences here at York to give me the confidence to go on to an even scarier place, London, and find my way there. I'm really aware that many of you graduating today have had a very different experience than that which I had and my generation had here. You will have spent, because of the pandemic, at least the early time of your years here behind screens on your own, denied that collegiality and the chance encounters and the informal learning from your teachers and from each other, and much of the social life that we all expect from being a student. But you have done it. You're here today, and I reckon if you can do this, you can do anything. My admiration for your generation is enormous. So massive congratulations to all of you, and I wish you all the best with my great thanks for the future. Thank you.
For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Science in Film and Television Production, Ewan Knight. Ada Kutratskeva. Sophia Masip Hefferon. Jacob Mark. Lawrence Mason. Andrew McCabe. Isla McDade Brown. Juliet McGuinness. Ross McQueen. Hannah McVicker. Alexander Moore. Tom Morrison. Sarah Morton, Adi Muda, Lauren Murphy, Sophie Mayat, Sophie Nimmo, Rory Percival, Jessica Perry, Felix Piazetsky, Freya Portway, Sydney Price, Lizzie Purdy, Max Roach, Beth Ann Rooms, Leah Sage, Jasmine Scott, Dylan Shepley, Jasmine Smale, Grant Stephen, Eva Maria Stelder, Isha Suman, Joseph Sweeney, Sophie Thomas, Henry Wallace, Wang Pinsen, Wang Shihan, Shong Jianuqi, Zhai Jingfeng, for pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Science in Film and Television Production with placement year, Peck Junrong Jerome. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Science in Interactive Media, Amelia Bridgeford. Mohammed Bidani, Manq Christy Chu, Ewan Cochran, Jack Doe, Chris Georgiou, Morgan Holloway, Philippa Ikele, Owen Jakes Was, Mateusz Jasto, Pip Harrison Josie, Ashley Kruger, Anna Kuska, Anna Maria Manila, George Newton, Louis Shapiro, Jessica Shaw, Lucy Smith, Ding-Wing Albiso, Hannah Studley, Harry Sykes, George Timms, Samuel Underwood, Felix Wahlberg, Elliot Wallace. Edmund Wei-Tsen Yang. Wing-Yan Esther Wong. Xiao Yen-kun. Xu Jiayi. For pursuing the degree of Bachelor of Science in Interactive Media with placement year, Sergio González García. Victor Trod.
It is my enormous pleasure to introduce Christina Alexandra Higgins, our student orator who will speak on behalf of the class of 2023. Our student orators have been invited to speak in recognition of their hard work on behalf of the student community and commitment to their studies. Our speakers have both pursued the most enriching experience they could during their time at York, as well as giving back to their community. On behalf of the class of 2023, I give you Christina Alexandra Higgins.
Thank you very much for the introduction. Hello everyone, I am Christina Alexandra, and it is a pleasure to be chosen as your student orator, and representative for graduation today. In my time at York, I submersed myself in 13 societies in mixed disciplines of sport, academia, and music. I brought home trophies with various teams in 2 inter-university Roses competitions, and I was fortunate enough to be elected president of 2 societies and started 1 society myself. I also built the foundations of my 2 businesses. The first, a clothing business, Garber in Spark York, CIC. My clothing line has since featured in 3 seasons of York Fashion Week, and I was recently invited to host the runway itself for the Spring-Summer collection at the Guildhall. With my second business, Checkmate, I curate and promote music events. The most recent events have involved student and local talent in the venue of Blue Box York. I am thankful for the student support and participation with these projects. From DJs to models, the talent and commitment I have seen from York University students is exceptional. I would also like to thank Kat from Revival Runway for taking the time to come into my shop at Spark. And I am grateful for everyone involved in making Fashion Week a success. During my time as a student, I also connected with the City of York by engaging with community and charity-led activity, such as Strictly St. Leonard's 23, where I learnt the Cha, Viennese and waltz, alongside the Lord Mayor and York of Lady Mayoress. I also had great fun fitting their ballroom shoes through my time as a shop floor assistant at Fancy Dance Shop 2. I am grateful for the team of St. Leonard's Hospice for all of their work. It was a pleasure raising money for this charity. While studying, I pursued my career in the music industry, DJing and singing in clubs. I was the weekly resident DJ at Cuda nightclub, and I met many students at York University coming through the doors after PAP Wednesday. Upholding my commitments as a student in York brought moments of laughter, with an equal number of sleepless nights worrying about deadlines, often spending multiple all-day and night-long sessions at the library, whilst my friends sung their hearts out to ABBA in flares, whilst I repeated, Mamma Mia, here I go again, watching the sunrise as I went to bed. I would like to give special thanks to Longboy, for his company walking me through Greg's Place at 6 a.m, post-work or deadline relief. I also feel greatly inspired by the students I met through my work and community activity. So I would like to recognise the achievements of Postcode magazine and the students I met from the Creative Industries department who interviewed myself, local musicians, models and staff at York Fashion Week for their first year project. Wow. It was a pleasure meeting other passionate students, and I look forward to seeing the new courses the university will continue to provide. I am speaking on the day of our graduation to represent one student in a vast macrocosm of many today. My experience in York continues to bring me joy, multiple challenges and room for growth. I recently decided that I will stay in the city to pursue my businesses and lines of work. My experience as a student taught me resilience, and I recognise this trait in the students at University of York. By practising resilience with people, study and work, I have found my self-confidence continues to flourish. I would like to remind each person in this room that your impact on this world is valuable. The skill set you choose to embrace and develop is unique, and it is vital we sharpen our tools with care when placing them in our personalised toolbox for life. Each student walked their own path, facing multiple challenges and even greater success, with one shared goal, or even a shared degree, society. Each path was led individually. I am speaking today to remind peers, staff, family, friends, of how truly remarkable that is. Let us take a moment to show gratitude for the environment we share today with our peers, staff, family and friends. Let us remind ourselves of the skills we have. Or that one time we felt sick to our stomach before doing something that ended up being one of our greatest achievements. Let us feel thankful for our success and give a silent nod to people and challenges we continue to overcome. In this room today, we see a visual representation of unity binding diversity. Let us remind ourselves that underneath the colours we wear, the length of our hair and through the doffs of our deed, we must utilise all our senses to determine what is right. We must remember it is our privilege to sit here today, where all genders and races can exist together. We must remain thankful to our history, where exceptionally courageous representatives fought for our right to study. Today, I see a visual representation of unity within diversity. However, many of us understand that momentary unity is not equality. Where I see silence in highlighting this uncomfortable truth, I recognise that our work is still ongoing. We are capable of learning more, loving more, and embracing every moment we have. We practice referencing in our essays and learnt criteria to pass exams. So now I urge you to share your wise words that you have from others and set your standards for the life you wish to live yours by. Address your bias. Prioritise your needs and assess when and if you are able to extend your energy that little bit further to question what you see so it aligns with how you feel. I encourage you to trust how you feel. Listen to your gut instinct, and if you see injustices and inequality in your workplace, further study, or in your social environment, please use your voice if it is physically safe to do so. And remember, if you do not disrupt the peace in your environment, your inner peace will fall foul to its silence. Today we celebrate our graduation. Tomorrow we continue our professional and academic journey. Let us keep the promises we make to ourselves Remain curious and show gratitude to the spaces we live in and to the people who help us on our journey. You know who you are. We give special thanks to you today. Thank you to the graduation team who worked hard for us to be here today. And thank you to everyone who has shared personal words of encouragement. I would like to give personal thanks to my mother for inspiring me daily to remain curious. She's probably waving right. Oh, there we go. I love you too. To use my voice and to feel with my heart and lead with my head. My mother graduated twice this year for her undergraduate degree, postponed by COVID, and her master's. Through attending these ceremonies, I realised what education meant for me. Education means being open to learning new concepts and mastering the art of questioning them. Education means becoming your own best and most patient friends in times of frustration. Education means learning everything you can whilst feeling peace, knowing nothing at all. I am grateful to Yvonne Seymour for teaching me how beautiful sharing wisdom and encouragement can be. If I could copy and paste the spirit and share knowledge into all academic institutions, I would. I also thank my mother, again, Melanie, aka Superwoman, for teaching me that education is a lifelong commitment. Mum, when I saw you stood where I am today, I was beaming with pride. It is because of your relentless love and commitment to growth that I'm able to speak today. These words I share are inspired by the very wise words we continue to share with me, and for that, I must give acknowledgement and high credit. May we all continue our journey with pride, integrity, and decorum. As you leave this room today, please remember the vows we must uphold to ourselves, in line with the commitments we made to our study. Keep the promises you make to yourself. Be kind to your body in illness, and relish in each and every moment you have good health. Support your dreams. Never stop. Embrace your life. Do not control it. And allow for the unexpected. Cherish tears of joy as much as tears of pain. It's how we know we are alive. Remember that loving yourself is just like any other relationship. Some days will be breathtaking, and other days you may feel frustrated. Sometimes you may even want to end the relationship entirely. The consistency of self-love is not living each day as your best self, and if someone has mastered that, please do tell me how. The consistency of self-love is the beauty of unconditional love. The same love we give so freely to our family, our peers, or that one friend who constantly leaves their dirty plates next to the sink instead of washing them. Loving yourself comes without terms and conditions. Loving yourself is waking up and simply existing. Remember, express gratitude to your environment. Unite the people and places in your life. Give thanks and remain present. It is the best present you can give to yourself. Feed yourself even if it isn't a huge plate. And clean the spaces you live in. Your mind will feel tidier too. Find the home inside your heart and protect it at all costs. Only you have the master key. Lastly, always trust your gut instinct. Question concepts, people and places to depths greater than appearance or textbook understanding. Let us celebrate the promise we made to ourselves to attain a degree. And hooray, we did it. Cohort of 23, well done and good luck. Thank you.
Wow. Christina Alexandra, thank you. And Christina Alexandra's mum, Melanie, thank you. Thank you too. Students, guests, and colleagues, this speech will conclude the graduation ceremony. And I have a spoiler alert because it's going to require some more hoops, cheers, applause, hollers, and so on from time to time. All right, so be ready for that. I did issue a challenge at the start, and I thought that our students in music were really setting a high bar, and I didn't think that students in theatre, film, television, and interactive media would meet it. But I think they just about edged a draw there. But only just, only just. Before we get to more cheering, let me first stand back and reflect a little on this university, this place of learning through which you, our students, have journeyed. Now, I'm sure I must be a little bit biased, but I think York is really special. It's less than 60 years old, one of the UK's best universities, but I think it's also one of the most distinctive universities. So where does that quality and that distinctiveness come from? Let me tackle that question under 3 headings. The first is curiosity. We are not satisfied just with what we already know. We want to explain things we don't yet have the knowledge to explain. And that curiosity for explanation drives the discovery of new knowledge. If you just take a glance at news stories on our website, I'm going to give you a small selection from the last few weeks. We've launched a new Centre for Blood Research, working to improve patient outcomes and find kinder and more effective treatments for blood cancers. We've pioneered the design of new educational tools which add 3 months of additional progress to the math skills of young children. Our archaeologists have used 3D scanning of embalmed bodies to understand Roman burial practices. We're setting up a new facility in nearby Wakefield to develop the next generation of production technologies in the UK's film, TV, and performing arts industries, perhaps somewhere where some of our students will go on to work. We've won a £12 million research project to speed up the development of fusion as a safe, clean, and abundant source of energy. There's a £6 million project using plants to capture carbon in soil and crop-based products, so we accelerate that road to net zero. We're doing work which will reduce or even eliminate neglected tropical diseases in southern and eastern Africa, and much, much more. That's a small selection of the stuff that's going on in the last few weeks in this university. That reflects what one of my colleagues calls the power of asking why. We always have a restless curiosity. We always want to know more. We always ask why. My second heading is about values, or you might say the purposes to which all that curiosity, that power of why, is put. Now, this university was built back in the 1960s on distinctive values which have stood the test of time and continue to guide us today. Let me recall a couple of the phrases from our founding documents. According to the minutes of the group that campaigned to establish the university, we were to conduct studies that contribute to the amelioration of human life and conditions. That's a powerful sense of purpose. This university was to be no ivory tower. Our task was and is to bring positive impact to our society. And we were to do all that, I quote, regardless of class, creed, or race. Regardless of class, creed, or race. Now, I guess these days, some might dismiss that kind of language as the woke virtue signalling typical of Generation Z. Well, I have to disappoint them. This was our first Vice-Chancellor Lord James, back in the mid-1960s, channeling the words of the US civil rights campaigner Martin Luther King as an inspiration for how we should work at the University of York. His concern was that social background should limit neither access to higher education, nor indeed our curiosity, because bringing together people from diverse backgrounds means we won't all ask the same questions. We won't all ask the same version of why. We will challenge ourselves to ask new questions. And then there was the Archbishop of York back in 1963, who challenged our students to be citizens not only of York, not only of England or Great Britain, not only of Europe, but the world. As citizens of the world, they would avoid, I quote, insularity of outlook. They would have the humility to learn from others across national and cultural boundaries. So those are our values: social impact, equality, and humility. We summarise this today in a simple phrase: the University of York exists for public good. And so, to my third heading in reflecting on this university's quality after curiosity and values. The third heading is you, our students. At York, we often speak about the need for bright minds like yours, and it's for good reason. Each new generation of students stands on the shoulders of those who went before. In your open-minded outlook, your eagerness to ask why, your willingness to understand and learn from others, and your commitment to making a difference. And to be frank, you've probably had more to contend with over the last few years in succeeding in your studies than some of those earlier generations did. And in all of that, while you will have learned much from us, we have also learned massively from you. You don't just reflect, you also help us to renew this university's curiosity and values. You too are a foundation of the university's quality. But what's impressed me alongside your success in your studies is how you also take those values beyond the classroom. Just a few examples of what this has led to over the last year. One is your work with the university to shape and improve your experience. In designing the cost of living support the University and Students' Union have been able to provide in this most difficult of years. By working with the library to introduce, amongst other things, facilities to support students with young children and a sensory room to support the needs, in particular, of autistic students. And the excellent work led by some of our international students to explore with their lecturers the challenges of learning in a second or a third language. Another thing I'd like to highlight are the 370 activities our brilliant Students' Union organises. From Aikido to yoga, via cheerleading, Gilbert and Sullivan, hedgehogs on campus, Mario Kart, and slam poetry, along with 75 sports and 19 volunteering groups. We're pretty confident this makes York, this makes you, the most socially active student community in the UK. And through all this, we've seen, amongst many other things, our newly formed Ukraine Society organising an event in the city to mark the anniversary of the Russian invasion, a student-led civic event promoting and sharing sanctuary and messages of peace, including extraordinarily moving testimony from Ukrainian students. Elsewhere, we saw our York Movember student ambassadors working largely through our sports clubs, raising over £37,000 for the prostate cancer charity Movember. And back in May, we had a brilliant York Lancaster Roses tournament, the 57th tournament in the series and the first we've been able to hold in York since 2019, with 150 events across 45 student sports, a huge festival of sport, supported by 220 student media volunteers, quite a few of whom are sitting in this hall just now, running up to 10 simultaneous live streams with over 50,000 views on our student TV channel, plus immense radio coverage and coverage by our student newspapers. Absolutely brilliant. But what was also remarkable was how our students also used Roses as a platform to shine a light on sexual violence in sport, raising over £15,000 for the local charity Survive in the process. And of course, I have to mention, as Christina Alexandra did, Long Boy. There he is. There we go. Long Boy, a very, very tall duck. A very tall duck who was popularised, lived on campus, popularised through student Instagram accounts, and then in this rather odd viral way that happens these days, became a global sensation. Featured on the Late Late Show by James Corden in the USA, and featured frequently here by Greg James on the Radio 1 Breakfast Show. So in March this year, we heard Long Boy quacking on Radio 1. Before, very sadly, he disappeared, we suspect deceased. But happily, we know he's going to live on following an extraordinary crowdfunding drive by our students to raise the money for a lasting memorial for him, probably in bronze or something like that on campus. Now, for me, that mix in our students of the academic achievement for which you're wearing these funny hats, but also the fun, the creativity, the responsibility, the compassion, and the love of very small ducks that you have shown, very tall ducks, I mean, marks out a really, really special group. So in light of that, I invite my colleagues and all the family, friends, and supporters in this hall to give us that first deafening round of cheers, whoops, and hollers to celebrate the brilliant achievements of you, the class of 2023. Now, of course, our academics are represented by those you see here and others around the hall have something to do with your achievements. They channel their curiosity to discover the knowledge that helps us understand better the challenges that face us all, and then to do something about them, to have impact on the environment, health, inequality, heritage, aging, creativity, new technologies, human rights, medical advances, and much, much more. They devise and deliver courses in all sorts of innovative ways on the basis of that expertise and their curiosity. And I'm always impressed by the passion with which they share that expertise with our students, the inspiration that they give you. I'm also always impressed by the contribution of other staff at the university for what they do in ensuring things run smoothly. Whether it's organising the library, looking after university finances, making sure graduation ceremonies run smoothly, running our sports facilities, managing our careers service, cleaning student bedrooms, and keeping our geese and ducks more or less under control. So let me call on you, our students, to join me in applauding our outstanding staff and all they've done to support you in your time here. I turn now, and almost finally, to say something about the family and friends supporting you in this hall today. Now, I know after Christina Alexandra where Mum Melanie is, just over there. And I suspect the mums and family members and friends in this hall will have helped you from time to time during your period at the university, providing advice and companionship, shoulders to cry on when needed, laundry services, and no doubt some money from time to time. So, students, in light of all that, I'd like you to stand and turn to your family and friends in this hall and raise the rafters for them. Thank you so much for that. Now, I wish you all success and happiness for the future, and I do hope you will keep in touch. We want you to see York as your university to life, to remain part of what is a global network of thinkers and doers striving to make a difference, shaping our future, tackling the challenges we all face with that special York mix of the power of why, our distinctive values, and your bright minds. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you. Thank you very much. And with that, I declare this congregation closed. So if you are able comfortably to do so, please rise.